what I'm going to talk about this evening is more of the mindset behind the things necessary for the change management and the understanding of why same-day starts are important. And that's really the foundation to build everything else on as you move forward and implement or become better at same-day starts in your office. So the numbers that we're showing, are robust. Through the years, we processed over almost $2.5 billion of revenue through the system, over 500,000 starts, hundreds of million dollars of accounts receivable, with very high collections and insurance rates. So, and I spent the first 10 years of my career exclusively focused on how to become a better clinician. And as I began to understand, becoming an incrementally better orthodontist does not incrementally improve your business, but it's also learning about the business principles that go along with running an excellent business with high integrity at the same time. So just because there's more competition out there also means, doesn't mean that there's less patients available. In fact, there's more patients available, a lot more patients available. And the question is which way is the pie going to be distributed? And so, Darwin said, it's not the strongest species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. And I think in turbulent times, now more than any time I can remember, things are changing and we have to be responsive. Most orthodontists don't know how to do a business plan, what a business plan is, never have done a business plan, and they show up every day thinking about goals that they want, but they don't ever put a plan in place to achieve those goals. If we think about some of the numbers that you measure from sales performance, the historical measurement, the one we've used for the last 20 years in orthodontics, is called case acceptance. And my suggestion is that there's a better number at this point. If people start talking about case acceptance, everyone says they have 80%. You ask, oh, what's your case acceptance? And the answer is 80% or higher all the time. And we know from measuring things in OrthoFi over the year, and over 300 or 400 practices, that most people, when they start, are closer to 50% or below. And even though they say that they're higher, and it reminds me of the same people, the way they play golf with foot wedges and mulligans and do-overs. This is a great book by Dale Doughton called Great Employees Only. And he'll say that, which I agree with, the most important business process is the acquisition, development, and retention of talent. And by empowering your teammates, not only do you free up time for you to do other things, but you give psychological ownership in a project so that they feel compelled to help make it succeed just as much as you do, or more, since they're the one doing most of the work, and it leads to better performance. And whether we like it or not, at a basal level, people really only care what's in it for them. Whether they put on that they do that way or not, it's just the truth. So look at that, and then you should be sculpting your conversations that way in the treatment coordinator room too. Less about you and more about what your services can do to benefit them.
When I looked at my practice, I realized that everything's centered around the number of visits it took us to finish treatment. The number one metric we work on in our office is what we call our efficiency metric. And this is the key metric number one we're going to talk about tonight. But most of us don't really truly know how many appointments it takes to do treatment, because we work 180 days a year and we go in and we see whatever's on the schedule, and often don't realize that the more, and you'll see this later in the presentation, the more appointments or visits it takes us to finish treatment, the more work we have to do. So what I want to focus on now is, how does our clinical inefficiency affect our starts per day that we can do? So if the average practice at 340 starts could do 2 starts per day instead of, remember, they were at 1.8, that average orthodontist could take 10 extra days off a year. Improves quality of life, maybe reduces staff overhead, maybe they bonus their team, an extra 10 days a year off for getting up to those 2 starts a day. So at 16 visits a day, this same practice could do 3 starts per day. Now, everyone then says to me, well, that's going to mean I got to see a whole bunch more patients a day, and I'm just unwilling to do that. But it doesn't. The more you focus on your clinical efficiency, you'll be able to reduce the number of days you want to work. You'll be able to reduce the number of patients you see a day, and you'll be able to grow your practice. So how do you actually build a schedule? In order to do this, you've got to know your average number of visits to complete treatment. So people say, well, you're focusing on average number of visits, yeah, hyper efficient. We just don't want to have to stress that much about it. But how do you even know how to build a scheduling template if you don't know these things? So let's follow it. Please, please, please stop giving your patients a range for treatment time. Please stop doing the 18 to 24 months. And the reason is the patient hears 18 months and the doctor and the team plan for 24 months. So automatically, we are failing our patients by 6 months when we give them a treatment time. Tell them how many months you think it's going to take and then live up to it. And the number one thing that Jamie and I have heard over the years is, well, great, so you told them 24 months and you finished in 18, aren't they going to not pay you for the remainder of treatment? I think we could spend a lot of time discussing that, but what I would say is that's another benefit of OrthoFi, because OrthoFi is going to work to ensure that the financial arrangement as it was set up prior to treatment is independent of treatment time.